Okay, there we go. All right. So this is our starting point of the 4 hour candle. See, it says zone start 240. And once you play with the zones enough, you'll see that this is what it looks like when it creates a new zone, right? And you'll see that it forms up like that. But that's just technical crap. Let's look at what we're actually using now to get into the trades. So this is the new zone forming. So you're looking at a dynamic 4 hour TPO zone right here. Okay. And if you're using any type of candle range theory, which you can use your TPO or volume profile analysis to kind of figure that out, we're starting a new. Well, let's actually put on this so we can see the 4 hour candle at the same time. Watch. I like this indicator for this because it's great because you can see the actual candle as it's building. So here's the beginning of our 4 hour candle, and we break out up immediately. And I just want to point out that I'm in this short right now and I'm up $500. Looking pretty good. I I went right here off the I'm using the institutional ladder right here. And I'm trying to target the next zone down here. Let me see. That's not the right account. What? I don't know why it won't let me show. Why does it keep doing that? No, I don't. So I took the short when I took it before the sell signal. This is the 2.0 that's coming out. I took it off of this right here because this was consolidation. That's what this yellow is mapping out. And then we're rejecting the institutional ladder right here. But this is all new and well, not really. I've been drawing these zones out forever. Um, but yeah, this is running all the way down. It's looking great. And then I have my big. I wonder if I can. Where is my? Okay, here it is. Share. Let's see. I think this one. Can you get ready? So we also had a rejection here on the institutional zone on my big Rinkos here, right? See that? So that kind of gave me confirmation too to get in. But it's starting to consolidate and break apart right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and trail that. Oh, I got stopped. Whatever. All right, back to what we're doing. Shit. Did it switch? Okay, good. All right, so we're looking at the new zone form, and we're looking for um direction in what we think our biases. And right here, what is this time? This is 9:30. So most of the time when you get a push right at the open that's like 25% of a daily ATR, it's usually manipulation. So I'm always looking to fade that when this happens. So here's your new 4 hour candle. And if you watch what price does with it, we're actually breaking back down through it and look at what the 4 hour candle is looking like, right? So that's now crossed and dumped through our VAH, through our point of control, all the way down through our VAL. So if you were trading that on any other type of technical analysis or um, indicator or whatever, what would you do with that? So my entry would have been right here on this bullish candle pushing back up and then rejecting. And if you want to get even more technical, you really could go into a line chart here and look at what it looks like. So if that and that right, and you had a rejection here and your beacon line is coming back down through it, right? And look at what your 4 hour candle has turned into. So if we're pulling, if we really wanted to use that as our entry, so we could enter here, our stop would go at the VAH where you entered. Right here. See that? Which we call byline. And then we're targeting, we can go to a higher time frame and look, make it easier. What are we targeting? Well, here's a really good target, right? But that's below. I mean, it's over a 1-to-1. I would target that, but I would still be seeking, more. So if we go and we start looking at end caps, there we go. That's a decent target, right? And then we can turn on, or we can pull up our institutional ladder because this really works. And look at, they're actually together. We're getting our end cap and our ladder in the same spot. That's where I would target. I would be looking for that. I try to get to here and see what happens to get a 2, but if not, oh well. I'm definitely gonna take some off here, right? And if we can trail and try to dump down into here, I would try that as well. But if you look, there's see, and it just falls to the floor. So, well, look at the interaction of this institutional zone here. So what these are, and I've made this indicator, you can just get it. It doesn't, level. Is I've gone back and I've just looked at all the data of what the moves are and the ATR is, and then found an average and just plotted this on the chart forever and ever. That's what the indicator does. And it works. See? But then we take our zones and we use that as our confluence. Can't stand that, to get into those trades. So it's really taking the TPO and institutional involvement and putting it into a place where you can really, kind of say this is a high probability A+ setup. It's worth the risk right here, right? That's all this is. That's all we're trying to do, is figure out, is this worth the risk? And when you start getting into this and you start seeing the zones do these things, even without the candles, you can start to see the picture. Look at this. Breaks up, hits your institutional level, and dumps out of it. With no candles involved, you can figure out what's going on. Now, I still do it now, but I used to literally scalp 9:30 on the dot, open like this right here, right? And I didn't use candles. I used the midline crosses of the zones. So we can take another zone and we can say we can go into a time-based, 5-minute, right? Turn on our midline, turn off our end caps, turn off our dynamic fill. This thing over here is, and look at this line right here. See that? And that's all that is a 5-minute mid. And then if you put in show 50% mid on this, you're getting POCs and POCs to cross. And well, let's change colors on one so we can tell the difference. Right? So you're getting POCs crossing. See that? Comes up and rejects it inside of the zone. That's telling you all you need to know right there. And then our confirmations, it breaks down away from this one instead of staying in line with it. Right? So if you come look over here, here's another example. This is 10 a.m. or that's 2 a.m. We're inside of this zone, and what happens? We get a cross down and manipulation pump, a push up. Well, this is just your market structure right here. Where's my drawing tool? There it is. This is just your wave. See? And you know we're bullish because we're above the 4 hour 4 hour zone. And our super trend is bullish, right? And it starts to paint a pretty good picture. Look at this right here. This zone comes into it. This is at 2 p.m. We hit this institutional level, and the 4 hour zone says no thank you and dumps out. See that? And we're using, and I shouldn't have trailed because it just dumped all over again, right to almost to my TP. Whatever. This is all right, but this um zone here is giving you such good information on which direction price is going, and then we're using our our institutional ladder here to figure out, okay, how far should I really try to go with this, right? and and is the trade worth it? Because this is like something like the setup you'd want to take. So here we go, we break down here. Here's where our stop is kind of going, maybe above this zone right here, right? And then we're targeting our 2 to 1, or we're trying to get to the next zone. And there's a 2.24 just to this zone. So we're trading level to level basically. And then if we turn on our end caps again, so I just have them off just to, well, that got wiped out from this price action probably. No, it didn't. But there's the price action, right? So I always try to convince a lot of people to use to use the line chart when they're trading, because especially on one of your charts, because price action is going to manipulate you. You're trading against pros and billion-dollar algorithms that use price action to manipulate you to do things. So if you start using price, so everybody says use zones. Zones is not one level like this, right? Everybody says, oh, you can't just trade off this one line here, right? You got to trade off a level. See how this is a level, a zone from here to here. Well, if you start looking at price and candles the same way, guess what happens? You stop entering because a candle did a certain thing. Because if you just entered on this right here, boom, boom, just because it touched it, you're going to lose a lot of trades, right? Well, a lot of people are entering candles. What's that? Yeah, yeah, the institutional ladder. Yes, the institutional ladder right here. Right here. It only works on right now. It only works on the MNQ and ES. Because it's specific for each asset. So I'm going through all the assets, and eventually I'll have a bunch of them in there. Um, but yeah, so that's the gist of how to use this thing and how to understand like what is really going on with price. Now, if you're scalping and you say you're scalping, um, I don't know, 5 minute candles. Like everybody likes to scalp 5 minute candles. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, let's go into this zone right here and let's put on a 5 minute zone. Okay, we don't want any of these lines anymore. We don't want, well, end cap, sure. We want the dynamic, and then let's put on another zone, right? And let's put on like, I don't know, 45. Well, that was already at 5 minute, right? Um, so let's put at 45, and let's go into a smaller time frame. Where are you? Why are you not showing it? Oh, right there. And then we'll make this, I like my 45s yellow or orangish looking. There we go. Now, this is telling us um direction as well. So if you're looking at 5 minute zones breaking down below the bigger zone, well, I'll just turn off end caps for now to make things cleaner looking. Um That one's already off. Okay. So if we're breaking down, what time is this right here? This is at 10:05, right? So for scalping purposes, if we're breaking down away, like the FLB is literally crossed through the 45 and dumps down, you're bearish, right? And that's just the first kind of confirmation that you want to try to start getting into shorts. And then we're looking at, okay, well, let's look at our rejections and our end caps or crossovers, right? Those are the three ways I'll get into a trade like this on a scalp. Is, am I getting a crossover? And what do I mean by that? Is this right here? This is a crossover. So a new 5 minutes started right here, right? We came down, we crossed up, and we dumped through, right? So this is your accumulation, and then this is your manipulation, and then this is your distribution. If you understand that, or what's the fuck, what am I, it's right here, contraction expansion. There you go. Right. So here's your contraction, your false expansion breakout up to get people to buy so they can dump into it. That's what that is. So that's what you're looking at right here. And if you look at a 5 minute candle, since we're trading 5 minutes, we'll turn on our PO3 thing again. We'll put on our 5 minutes, right? And then we'll replay that area so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So here is our start right here. So this is what it's looking like in 45 seconds. Right. And our zone is broke down out of this 45. So we're going, okay, I'm thinking going bearish, and we're pushing. Our beacon line is red. We're underneath there. Everything is cool, but we don't really have a crossover yet. Right. So we don't really have an entry. Okay. That's telling me something. We've got our contraction or accumulation. Now we're breaking out up. But remember, our zone broke down through this. This is manipulation. Or it's just going to turn into chop and just keep going straight up and down, right? But when you're in chop, look at what the zone, where is the zone? It's inside of the other zone, right? That's a big no-no. That's a I don't want to enter here type stuff, right? And now this one's starting to play out. So our beacon line's red, breaking through 5 minute zones outside of this. We dumped through it. We're under our super smooth, which this is basically a mean regression or a linear regression. That's what it is. It's just my take on it. All right. So if you follow that, you broke through mean regression, you're coming up retesting the mean and then dumping, right? That's what's happening. So, and then we dump back through with this nice, this is just their boner candle reversal, right? This is some volume in there, and you can turn on your volume dots if you want, and I bet you're going to start seeing volume starting to increase. I don't know why it does that to me sometimes. You had your increase in volume here. This candle had an increase in volume, but it didn't break down, and it got bought back up, and then it crashes through again. But I would take this entry. Why? Because we've gone at the start of the zone, pushing back up. I'm already bullish at this point. And our candle finally gets the crossover right here, right? Look at the color of the 5 minute candle. It's green now. That's telling you, hey, this is the manipulation phase, right? If we're right about it dropping, and then watch it crash back down. It's turning red again. And then we actually finally get a blow through the VAL right here. So this would be a decent entry. Our stop is going to be the zone right here where we got into the trade. And then we're going to scalp whatever our scalping is. This right here is a pivot point. Basically, any type of accumulation or like this right here, or range or whatever, is a good area to try to target and get into those types of trades. And there's your crossover method right there, right? Now, I also get into trades from wick offs. So if I'm wicking, if I miss this right here, right, and I notice this accumulation start to form underneath the zone, we're still bearish. Everything is still looking good for bearish. So at that point, I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to take a wick out of the zone here, right? So this is literally wicking the VAL of the 5-minute candle right here. See that? I'll turn on the line here. Sometimes it happens. I don't know why it does it. It's something with TradingView. I'm trying to figure it out. Um, did I just do it on the wrong one? I did. So there's our VAL, and we're wicking the shit out of it, right? Now I might wait till I see a candle kind of engulf all of these right here. So this one right here, or it really just depends, man. It really depends on how trigger happy I am. I might take this wick, and how I would do that is I'm just gonna short the close, and I'm gonna again stop is going on the zone of where I entered, right? And then I'm looking for targets. Well, we're already through this accumulation. Well, not through it, but we're right next to it. So I'm not targeting that. I might target this one here, or I might just target this end cap that's sitting there, the 5-minute end cap right here. Go ahead and turn that on. There it is. And there's your target, right? If I'm scalping. If I'm scalping, I'm definitely not going to try to target down here to an institutional ladder. My thing is you can't mix what you're doing. Like if you're trying to get into a hold, then you get into your hold. If you're trying to scalp, then you just stay scalping, because that's where you're going to end up getting hurt. When people try to swap strategies or what they're doing, they end up getting hurt, because this is probably going to bounce off, come up here, bounce off one up here, and then finally come down here, right? So if you're scalping, just scalp. That's a 2.28 right there if it hits. And there it is. Now it didn't bounce off and come up, but let's see. Nope, it went all the way to it. So called me a liar. But still, it's not always going to do that. So if I'm scalping, I'm scalping. I'm not going to run it, right? This is good enough to take a scalper here. This is 34 points. You have a runner, then leave a runner. But that's the way I'm going to get into trades if I miss like the crossover, which these are the best ones right here, because there's so much volume coming into play, because there's so many people buying. And then I'm going to get into wicks here, which is basically just rejections. Now, there's another way that I really like to get into trades, and it's going to require like going into a higher time frame zone here, and then looking at it's the same. Get a message on. It's the same way as that 4-hour, but if you look at hour candles, right, and this is kind of telling people, the idea behind it is people get paid by the hour, so just every hour come look and see if you can get into a scalp off of it, right? So every hour you're going to get a new zone. So here is the hour zone start right at 10, and there's your crossover. Sweep ups, comes down, comes in. If you don't want to take these drops right here, look at this retest right here. Sweeps up, comes down, and retests right here, and then comes down. So there's a scalp, right? And then you can come back to the previous hour right here. We get a kind of, it's unclear, but we get a sweep up, right? Sweep down. We don't get any type of retest. Sweep up, kind of retest right here, but I'm not taking that, right? I want to see kind of like this kind of happen. I'm not going to take this candle right here. But this one isn't as clear, but it does break down finally, and then retest and then drop, right? And if you look, we're really looking at the beacon line to determine this, really not really the candles. See the beacon line here? sweeping up and then sweeps down. Come back to this one over here. It sweeps up. It never comes down below VAL. See that? This one finally does, and then comes and retests and drops. See? So there's a scalp you can take off the hour candle. Um, most most of the time, if we're in a trend, then I will take the breaks. But if we're kind of flat and we're choppy, I'm definitely looking for retest. Because if you look at what this is a Head and Shoulders. Yeah, right. You could, yes, you could. I see it. But I won't do it. I want to see a cross through. I want to see it cross through and show me that it's because it's not. This isn't always going to work. Well, they're never always going to work. But this is. I've just had a lot less luck with this than with these right here. So I've just trained myself just to wait for the breakthrough and retest of the whole zone. Um, because that's where it's going to. You're looking for the traps, is what it is. You're looking where are they trapping people, and this is just a trend continuation. It's not really a trap. Now this is a trap. They're dumping it. People are shorting, going, oh shit, it's shorting, and then they're covering and it breaks back up, and like, oh no, they're going long, and then they really dump it. See? So this is where the trap is going to be set. Is right here. This isn't really much of a trap. So I'm sure you could do it. It wins, but I'm not. Um, yep. And then we get into this like this right here, but look at the time of day. This is 8 a.m. Right now, can you? Yeah, so you can. There's pre-market strategies. We have a pre-market zone, and it does work. But look at what's going. You're not getting any of those retests. Here's one right here that would kind of get you, but you're not getting anything. Now you finally get one right here, kind of. This kind of is a retest. Let's look at the candles. So these are kind of retests, but look at how choppy this is. There's no volume, and it just sucks. Um, so you got to really pay attention to the time of the day when you're doing these things. Now, that is um, the easiest way to use these zones is the breaks and the retest and then continuation down. And if you're holding, you can use this to scalp, or you could use this to actually hold down to one of the institutional zones, or the levels, because most likely that's where you're going to get a bunch of interaction from the market and participants. And if you look, we're holding this one here as we chop out today. See this? So it dumped right from the open, right 9:30. Where are you? 9:30 comes up. It manipulated. Well, it went from this zone to this zone, right from 9:41, whatever. And then we manipulated here, and then we finally crashed out after 10 from zone to zone, right? Jesus, 3 levels. And then another one here, and then now we're just consolidating on it. So if you find yourself in a situation, you can scalp these down, right? We'll just change our zone into like a 5 minute or a 15-minute zone, whatever. And it'll help us find the entries. So here we go. We're on a 5 minute. Where's our 5 minute start? Right here. Here's a 5 minute start. Breaks down. Well, it doesn't even come all the way up and then crashes. Breaks down, comes up, and then crashes. Right. And it's right off of the institutional zone here. This one right here does do your crossover method on the zone. This would be a perfect scalp. There you go. There's 30 points right there. Just if you're going to the end cap, the end cap would be sitting right here. There's 33 points from where it finally broke down to about here. And then this one right here, you get a new zone formation, a breakup, and it never breaks down through that 5 minute period. So you wouldn't take the trade. And then here's another one right here. It doesn't meet the conditions. Here's another one right here. Yeah, starts out, crosses up, and then crosses down. It does meet conditions. So you could see 30 minutes. Um, but yeah, so there if you're using the levels, sure. Yeah. Even with the end caps, you can do the same thing. Like um scalp off the end caps. Now I'm always going to take end cap rejection trades, especially in trend. I'm going to take this one, I'm going to take this one, I'm going to take this one, I'm going to take that one. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to take the EREs because they're high probability setups. Now, that is just the simplest way to trade with this thing. Now these crossovers just takes a little more, they're a little more advanced and you know, there's a little more thought into it. But these right here is just price comes and touches it, you get in a trade and did you win or not, right? And it's just a high probability setup. These are a little more, there's a little more thought into it to get into these types of things in these trades and not get tricked um, by candles. Like look at this. A lot of people are buying this top right here because look at these candles. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, it's going. It's not right? Those are it's just manipulation. They're just accumulating right here. It's really not even manipulation. They honestly really don't give a shit about you. They just need their positions filled, right? So if they have 1,000 contracts, they don't want to enter. This is like no, if they put it if yeah, if they put in a 1,000 contracts right here, price is gonna jump up here filling all the sell orders that are up there to get to 1,000, right? And then now the next position, like they if they want to add more, now they're adding in 200, 300 points above their original position. Nobody wants to do that, so they're going to add in. Yeah, they're going to add in here, let it come up, right, and then let it drop because people are taking profit, and they're adding some more, and then it drop and adding some more, and that's how they're building positions, and um they're doing it around these levels right here. If you notice, price is always reacting around them, right? And that's that. But um, as far as using the FLB, it's just a more advanced way of using the TPO. Actually, it is more advanced, but it's simpler because I can do this right here. A lot of people don't realize this, but I want to show you something. We go to a higher time frame, and I go to say time based, yeah. Let's go to 12 months, right? Turn off all this other stuff. I don't even want these. Oh yeah, that's fine. I don't even want the averages or nothing. Okay, so there is the, I'm gonna have to go to a continuous contract. There we go. So there is the year, the 12-month zone. So you're looking at the value of the highs and lows of the entire year, right? And then we can go in and we can throw in um a monthly like this. Get rid of this line here and get rid of the averages. What do you think you should do when a monthly crosses through an annual, Michael? Look at it. Broke here, retested. The zone busted. So here would be the perfect entry. And right now you're sitting at 3,413 points. And then if you look at the end caps, look at that right there. You want this. This is where I prove to people this shit is real. What is that? Yep. And look at this right here. So if you were to take this entry right here, your stop goes there. Pretty big stop. I understand. And then say you're just initially targeting that, right? Well, you trail the annual zone. And if you're an investor and you're holding, you just keep trailing and trailing and trailing until you're wiped out, and then you wait for another low. That's it. Now, this is obviously the long game. How do you do that in an annual method? Okay, this is what I like to do right here. I'll go into and I'll set this to a month right there. And then I'll set this one to a week. And this is how you can know what a whole week's going to do. Here's a weekly crossing through a monthly. What do you think you should do with that? These are daily candles, by the way. Yeah. Now you're starting to think. See, you're starting to see. Oh shit! Here's an end cap on a monthly end cap. These are daily candles. This would have been a massive move, dude. Look at that. You're looking at 2,000 points right there. Massive. And and here's the cool part. You want to see the really cool part about this? I can come over to this right here and see on my top left, I can click futures. I can click add alert on the list. You know what this does? It's going to put for anything in your list. So you can go through everything that you want to trade, put it in your list, click it, add alert to list. And what do we want the condition to be? Well, I want it to be not price. What is your problem? Oh, right here. Why is it not letting me do it anymore? What the fuck? What am I doing wrong here? The dots. I used to be able to select it right here. Maybe I already have too many. You're only allowed to have two. So you should be able to go in here and click add alert. Oh, I'm in replay mode. That's why. Okay. All right, there we go. FLB, end cap, top touch, bottom touch, or end cap rejection. I like to do the touched. I don't like the rejections because, especially on daily candles, because it's going to wait till the next candle closes before it alerts you. I want to know on a high time frame like this, I want to know when it's touched. You click that right there and click create. Any asset in your list, if this happens right here, you're going to get notified. And that's just you're just primed for the perfect entry. The risk is perfect, right? So, and then you're getting to your trade, and then you're targeting whatever it is you're targeting. And if you're using options, and then there you go, you can, put it in. But so this is the high time frame stuff that you can use to determine what are we doing this week too, right? So if you look at get out of here. Like right now, look at how we're bullish when this breaks up, but then we start dumping underneath the weekly back into the monthly on the 29th. But on the 22nd, we're bullish, right? And then on the 23rd, we go bullish. We can drop down into lower time frames and really get a more high def look at what's going on. And here we go. We break out, we go bullish. Well, there's always a retest, man. There's always a retest. And here's your retest. Look, it comes down and it retests the monthly and then it breaks back up. Next week, we come in straight bearish underneath the weekly zone. So each day you're looking at this going, yeah, okay, I'm bearish, right? That's how simple it is to figure out your bias. Like, look at the weekly zone. What is it doing? We're bearish. And then you turn on what I like to use is the 350 throughout the day to really narrow in what's my bias, right? And right here, Look at that. Sunday, 350. It's in lockstep with the weekly. So we're bearish on that day. And then it breaks the 350 breaks away from the weekly zone right here. I'm really bearish at that point, right? So we're looking for trades underneath the 350 because we're bearish, right? And then here's a trend, and then we come back up, retest, we break down again. This was on the 31st, and then look at this today, right? And this is hour candles. If you can actually break it down even more and get into a smaller time frame, we're in our 5 minutes, and really start to narrow in where's our entries at, right? Should you enter here? Maybe if you've got buffer in your accounts and you're willing to go into the drawdown, yeah, okay, go for it. But if you don't know, this is your entry right here, right? Because we're above our 350. I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell above it, but we're still bearish because we're below our weekly. See that? So I just break back down, and then here's your entry. And if we go back into using the beacon line to really tell us what's going on, we're not getting manipulated. See? And then right here we go bullish. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because people are like, I got to trade every day. This is all of Thursday or Wednesday and Thursday night. And then here is Thursday. Oh, Thursday we were done. Wait, right? Friday. Yeah. No, Thursday's traded the first. How did it trade on the first? The markets were moving? Oh, this is at night. Okay, this is Thursday night. It opened at 6. So this wouldn't even have affected you if you don't trade at night. But during the day, today, look at, we crashed back through the weekly down through to 350. So there's your ultimate, what direction should I be trading in right here? That simple. And then we just use our entry methods to get into trades. So it's really that simple, man. Yep. And this is the start of 2.0 right here, where it's literally telling you when to get in. So this is it. You guys are it's the first time anybody's seen this. So we're looking at zone A, which I'm just testing different methods, but it's the same stuff. Zone B, which zone do I want? Which zone do I want? And when the VAL for shorts, we get our VAL, right? So this is actually just actual regular there. We get our VAL for underneath it prints here. See this? And then if we're above it, our VAH is printing. But when we have 3 zones confluence with each other and say we're below one another, and now we've got a cross up and then a cross down, remember the crossover method? Here you go. So this is a short. Our lower time frame has crossed through the middle time frame while below the main time frame, and it prints a sell. See that? And your stop is this right here. See that? Pretty slick, huh? I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. Okay. Even in this chop, we're bearish. We're not supposed to be buying, right? Like I can change. So if you want, I just wanted to be able to scalp it, so I had a lower thing here. But if I want, I can go into say like a daily zone. Look at that. You're not going to be told to buy anything the whole day because you're below it. You're only going to be looking for these shorts. Do they all win? No. I wish I could make something that always wins. But hold on. He needs to, so have him schedule a Zoom call. Uh, Aiden, on our website, there's a button for it. So, but yeah, so this is telling you right here to take the shorts only. And this right here, this is a no-go zone. If you're in this, it prints this big ass red box. Do not enter here. You're gambling, right? Because you're getting into a chop area, and the best entries come after right here. This is a period of consolidation. You know what this is? This is price going back up inside in between the VAH and VAL, right? Of the zone that you're using to trigger with. So it's literally price pushing up and back down inside of there. And when it breaks away from it, it's gonna trigger. Right. So anytime you see one of these and you're breaking away is a decent entry. But we only want shorts if we're gonna follow the rules. We're below the daily zone, right? We're below the daily candle TPO. Now we could go into like 4 hours and see what it does. But it's probably the same thing because the 4 hour candles are dumping. So if we went into maybe New York, okay, let's try like sessions here. So we're going to New York zone. Same thing. We're bearish as hell. So it's only going to print sells, right? But what if we wanted to trade? Where is this? Is this Friday? No, this is overnight right here. Thursday. Okay. What if we wanted to trade London? Well, we can go into, or Asia. We can go into Asia and it's going to do the same thing, kind of. But it's giving you a really good signals for getting into trades last night. And I did trade this last night. I traded from here to here, right? And if you use your institutional ladder at the same time, and you kind of see that we're actually breaking out in a trend or whatever, you can target from here to here. There's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, you probably should. If you get into a trade there, you could probably use that as your target. And where does your stop go? It goes on the zone of where you entered. No different than the other version, right? So this is going to really help people nail in like the entries. So I mean, I got a lot of work to do in it still, but um, I think this is going to help out a lot. I think it's going to help people out a lot. Because yep, yep. Well, it's using the TPO data, man, but it's using it on. It's using right now. I have it set. Okay, so we have 4 hour, 15 minute, 15 seconds. So when the 15-second data crosses through the, what did I say it was? 5 minutes, 15 minute. It's printing, right? And you can, I like Renkos because Renkos eliminate a lot of noise, but here's just regular candles, but just as good. But the Renkos I think are better. I like Renkos, and that's what I like to use, or the line chart. Line chart's good too. And there's your line chart right there. And then there's another thing. So this is how we used to take 930 breakout trades. When the zones would cross, we would enter and we would hold until it crossed back down. So for that, this cross happens right here. I don't know. So this crossed. So this is how you can kind of hold. The white crosses up the blue, and it never crosses back down until right here. See that? So you could hold this trade just looking at that to this point here, or you can set an alert to automatically close it with cross trade. Even though you manually entered it, you can just turn your alert on and it'll automatically close the trade when this happens right here. Because you can do alerts for crossovers. You can go like this. You go, well, I don't have it in this fucking, you'd have to do it right here, but you literally just go condition FLB crossing this other FLB's Um, oh, you can do it. Okay, we can. Sweet. Didn't have to do that. I didn't even have to change it. Nice. Okay, so we would, you would set it like this, crossing this FLB. So uh 2.0, not one. Shit. There we go. Crossing. Yeah. So zone B mid, crossing zone C mid, um once per bar, create. So when this crosses over, you're going to get an alert, right? And when this crosses back down, you're going to get another alert. Or you can actually literally make the alert cross down, and then you would just turn the alert on with a command in the message to close the trade for you automatically with cross trade. Even though you're not automating it with algos, it'll still do that. So you can use that to hold the trade for you. But look at that, man. That's 54 points right there, just doing this shit. So I'm gonna try and get this done and release this next week or so. But yeah, this is 2.0. So, and there's more gonna go into it, but uh, for now, this is what it's looking like. And then if you don't want the signals, you don't have to. You can use just watching the lines break away and the candles break away from stuff that's important, like this right here, breaking away from this consolidation zone, dumps down. Same here, breaks away. No, this breaks up, but I'm bearish. I'm not taking it. This breaks away from it right here. And pretty slick. I like it. Yep. And I can set this to 1 minute. And that'll probably, I don't know what's going on here. Oh, you can't, because I changed it white and the lettering's white. See, that's why it's beta. Shit like that I gotta fix. So if we change this to like gray, then we'd probably be able to read it. Didn't even change. The fuck. Oh, wrong one. There you go. See? You got all zones are printing up here saying, hey, this is what's going on. If one's chopping out, it'll tell you. And it's basically like a go or no go type thing, right? And it just makes it simple. Look at, we're breaking out down right here on this one. I don't know if it's going to chop or not, but yeah. So hopefully this helps you out, man. Do you have any questions? Yeah. Yeah. Scene 2 is always better than 1, just because you can get, some kind of structure in your head of, okay, this is broke out above, so we're probably going bullish. Whether we're chopping around after or not doesn't matter, because this was a massive breakout. So we're gonna chop. But at that point, you just need to be going, okay, I think we should be buying, right? And if you just trust it, it's not going to steer you wrong. And I built the thing, and it still took me a very long time to trust it, right? And um I still find new ways to use it. Like there's so many variables on what we can do with it, that it's kind of insane. And um but just starting to learn to trust it, even because like what happens is people will see this breakout right here and be like, man, we're going up, and then look what happens. No, we're not, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it's just like, if this zone is below this zone, just sell only. Take sell signals, take sell setups. You know what I mean? If you like your volume profile, like I anchor volume profiles on everything, man. I will do this right here. Boom, boom. Be like, okay, Um, I don't want it to go that far, but okay, so this was what we were looking at. And I noticed that that was a swing point. I would say, why is it keep going? Even I'm anchoring it. It should stop. Hold on. That's why. There we go. So I anchored the low to the high with the volume profile, right? On this run up. So the swing, I'm anchoring with it. And then I'm bearish because why? This is why this zone's below that zone, and it's just that simple. But what am I doing? I'm gonna go in my mind. I'm gonna wait for price to break VAH and then see if we can close point of control, which will be at the same time breaking below the zone that's telling me I should sell anyways. See that? So you're getting volume analysis with TPO data saying you need to sell. Look at that. See what I'm saying? Because look at our point of control. We just broke it. Got a little bit of squigglies there, but it still dumps. But here's our VAH after rejecting our main trend confluence, and then here's our 350 algo, all lining up with this volume profile pushing up to on our swing right here, on our swing low to swing high. That's how I've got it planted, right there to right there, and that's telling me all I need to know. Man, it's short. And if you're just scalping, I mean, this would be a good target right here. Just target the low, right? And there you go. So that's how I'll use volume profile in conjunction with everything else like this. That's the main way I use it. I like to put it on all of my swings and find, okay, I don't care about getting this huge chunk here, right? Which would be nice if I could just get this whole thing, but I'm not trying to hit home runs because I lose when I try to hit home runs, and most people do. I'm trying to get what's confirmed, right? And go from here to here and take my 70 points and not have to worry about a job. All right. That's what I'm doing. So as long as you do stuff like that, yeah, they'll add up. And then if you're prop firm trading, you just multi-prop. So you can increase income by just adding accounts. Now, but this is a badass trade. That's 70 points that you knew was going to win. So, and this is right. And look at what time it is. This is 9:30, man. Right here, 9:30 is sitting right here. So just try it out. Yep. And the way I've got this configured now is I'm using the that is the 350 algo, which is my main trend confluence, and then here's a weekly zone that's letting you know what the whole week is doing. When you start trading like this, you're trading in line with institutions. You're trading in line with what they're looking at, going, where am I going to throw this $100 million in on the market? Where am I going to risk $100 million? Are you gonna risk $100 million buying right here? No, you're not. If you're an institution, you do that and you work for them, you're fired. Now, are you going to risk $100 million when it drops below this and breaks down when you're looking at this information? Because this is what they're looking at. And you're not getting fired if it's wrong, because you can't win everything. Yep. And you go from boom here to here, that's a badass trade. So now you're looking at, like, what are they looking? But they're not looking at it the way we see this, because they don't have this tool. They're using, old school shit, and that takes a PhD to read, right? And that's where this becomes special for retail traders, because nothing like this has existed for the retail space until now. You know what I mean? And that's why it's so valuable, because you're able to see data in a visual matter that has just never been displayed before. This just hasn't. And um, it works.